in a way, everyone is the hero of their own story. They're trying to bring awareness to an issue, solve a problem in the community. The fact that it's taken me this far and people are pouring into me for it, not even knowing what my potential looks like in the end. They just know that I have it. That's something that I'm never willing to negotiate about or compromise on when it comes to applying myself. Hi, my name is Alexis Jacobs and I am the founder of Butterbean Shots, and you are watching BGV's Where Are You Now?
Oh my God, Alexis, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so photography.
Yes.
Well, at least that's what we met. Is that still the thing?
It's part of the thing now.
Okay, so that's what we need to talk about.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about all the things, to get into all the things. So take me back. What school did you go to?
Spelman College.
Okay, okay. And you were part of Black Girl Ventures NextGen, the first cohort.
The very first one.
Okay, you was with us when we was shooting in the gym. Okay, literally with the NBA Foundation.
Yeah.
Went out with us to Cleveland too, right? It was cool. We got to tour the Cavaliers. Like back in, like we had a nice dinner in their arena, and we got to like tour their locker room and everything. It was a super cool experience. Shout out to the NBA Foundation for all their work and supporting us in the ways we've been working together this time. What were you thinking?
To be honest with you, that was my first time with like flying out and like not having to pay for that. So, well, first, that experience just kind of opened me up to what can happen when you say yes. Because I remember at the end of the program, like I wasn't top 7, but I remember we had a group chat, and in the group chat you were asking like, hey, who can perform the poem, or who wants to perform the poem? And I remember asking a friend of mine at the time, like, yes or no, you know, like one of those crazy like yes or no things. Right. And he said no, and I was like, wrong answer in my head. So I texted yes in the chat, and from there we had like the rehearsals, and I remember I had to perform the poem with like a Batman voice, and that was like one of the exercises I thought was super goofy, but it loosened me up. And then by the time I was taking the flight to Cleveland, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it was just an opportunity for me, like being curious and wanting to support, because BGV literally like, it was one of my defining moments in college. So that trip to Cleveland kind of like just sealed the deal for me, and just kind of like taught me what was available for me if I was open to receiving it.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I had my first flued out experience with a corporation probably when, well, we're working with Google, but then also working with this family foundation, the UN Marion Kaufman Foundation. They were our first believers. And that was one of the first times I ever got like flued out to something. And I thought to myself, I want to be able to do this for people, because it is such like, and I know like as I'm saying that, people watching may be like, oh, that's like simple. Actually, no. If you've never had it done for you, where like everything's taken care for you, your hotel, your car, your flight. We had an opportunity to do a retreat, and I brought some people into town. The first Black Girl Ventures Change Agent cohort, brought them into town, and we did a whole day retreat, but then we did like a sound bath, and I was just like, more Black people, I'm gonna say, should experience what it means to be flued out, flown out, and fully taken care of by an entity. Yeah, it's such an amazing feeling. Again, I didn't know it was possible until working with Google. Yeah. Like, and I know that might be crazy for people who do it all the time, but like this was something that I never experienced in my life. So I'm glad I could do that for people.
Yeah, I mean, BGV, it encompasses so many firsts for me. Because I'll share this with you, like the application came at a pivotal time in my life, and you can also see this in the thesis film that I made my senior year about that and entrepreneurship. So the semester before, I had applied to this really big company for a film internship. And I was like, this is my year, this is my season. We just got back on campus because COVID shut it down for sophomore year. I'm like, it's finna be lit. I'm finna get the big cherry on top and kind of like what I was supposed to have the previous year because I wasn't on campus. So I applied, I went through all 3 rounds. I got to the phone call. It didn't go well in my book, but I was like, maybe there's a chance. And then the way I found out that I wasn't selected was like, I saw the post on social media. I was like, so you ghosted me. Because I sent a follow-up email too. So I was like, okay, understood. And so I was kind of in a place where I was like, dang, like I'm trying to catch up on doing film or like catch up on entrepreneurship, but either they don't seem to want me or like accept me or like take me on that path. And then in January, what was that, 2022? Yeah, that was the year. And saw the application. I was like, I may not be like a traditional entrepreneur because at the time I was just doing, my side hustle, photography, and I had a portfolio and I was like, okay, you know what? At this point, I've got nothing to lose, so let me just apply. And so I did, and then I got in. I was like, oh my God. And then you came with the meals, okay? The meals during our learning sessions, that was what was like, okay, yeah, I like BGV, but I'm on my way to love in BGV because I'm just like, you can
feed people because we gotta feed people.
Not people, like broke college students. So yes, it was the food, it was the energy, it was the basics and the foundations of everything that I learned about starting a business. Because everybody can do a side hustle. That's something that you can do to make a little money. And like for me, I was just stubborn because I didn't want to, eat food at the caf all the time, and I wanted to be able to support myself on like the occasional shopping spree. And then I learned everything or like what I needed to know at the time as a student entrepreneur. And so, yeah, BGV holds a very special place in my heart for that.
I really appreciate it. And thanks so much for telling your story. I mean, I honestly feel like the Alexis that's sitting in front of me today feels like a slightly different Alexis from the Alexis I met in 2021. It was real shy, super introverted.
Oh my gosh.
And kind of like, I kind of do this thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yes.
I kind of do this thing.
That's exactly what it was. That is exactly.
It's like, no, you're a photographer. It's like, well, I kind of do this thing, and then maybe it's okay, and maybe it's...
Right.
Tell me about the difference in between that. Like, what would the Alexis now tell that Alexis then?
First, what you are seeking is also seeking you. I learned that recently and like, making my vision boards and like plans for the new year. Like it's a thing that you do, but until somebody puts it into words, it's like, oh my gosh, I get it now. And so I'm going to feel more comfortable in my journey and pursuing what it is that I want my business to look like. The Alexis of back then, she was very like uncertain of even calling herself an entrepreneur because I thought I had to have a very boastful personality or would be very extroverted and have a grip on networking, which is something that was totally elusive to me, not even as a freshman in college, but coming up in middle school, because that's when they're introducing like, hey, you need to network, you need to talk to these people. And I'm like, what is a network? How do you network? How do I do that? And nobody ever really had a straight answer. And so I think I was moving more in the sense that like, hey, I've done this thing and it's taken me this far, but I'm not really ready to claim it as my own yet, or like if people will accept me for claiming that as my own. And now I don't know, like this attitude for me is like, I'm structured, but I do what I want. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like photography itself, because we'll talk about it, but I've expanded beyond doing just photography.
Okay.
But the fact that it's taken me this far and people are pouring into me for it, not even knowing what my potential looks like in the end. They just know that I have it. That's something that I'm never willing to negotiate about or compromise on when it comes to applying myself. And like, I love the fact that we're in DC because, Hamilton, I'm a huge fan of the play. And, the phrase that I've adopted is like, I'm never throwing away my shot because of course you miss 100% of the shots you don't take,
right.
But also it's like a disrespect for myself because how could I not apply myself? I never know. I didn't know of BGV, but I did it because I was like, I'm doing something, doggone it. So
Right.
yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it then. Photography. When we met, that was the thing, or the side thing. And now it's what are you leaning more
Yeah.
into now? How has it expanded beyond photography?
Yeah, so Butterbean Shots is now multimedia photography and film production. So it's interesting because when you're in your 20s, all you really do is go back to what you liked as a kid. And for the longest time, I've loved film, right? And even through college, I struggled like, do I do film? Do I do entrepreneurship? Or can I do both? Do I have to choose? Because certain phases, I was like, okay, all in business, all for BGV, all for HBCU Founders Initiative. Then I was in Black Ambition. I was like, okay, I'm doing it. But then I was like, do I belong in film anymore? Like, because I still love movies, I still love writing, I still love editing too, and I do it for my business when I'm making content and connecting with audiences on social media. So how do I combine the two? And so that way I've redefined my company because I want to be able to, one, provide jobs for people like me who are looking to get experience in that but don't know where to look, and also provide a comfortable space for women who look like me because we're underrepresented behind the camera, right? Where our producers, our writers, even our actors on some level, right? But we need our gaffers, our grips, our directors of photography, everyone who's on crew, right? We need that perspective. So not only is it service oriented, but it's education oriented. We need drone pilots. I'm a drone pilot, and there are 400,000.
I want to get my drone pilot license. I've been thinking, me and my brother have been talking about this for a minute, that we need to go ahead and do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Because that's the way you get your commercial transactions done. Like I did a movie earlier this year called Kidnapped at an HBCU. And for things like that, for big budget things like that, you need a certified drone pilot to be able to operate on the commercial level. And so I did that earlier this year, and like the way it changed my mind too, because the way I got paid for a couple hours of my time, I was like, ooh, it was worth the investment. And it was worth the investment even before that, because being certified, I'm in the FAA database. Like you can look me up as an airwoman in there.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's insane. So yeah, me and my friend, we were like the first to be certified as like Spelman College students.
Wow.
So yeah, even making history in that is really cool, but also
nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. And exposing other Black women to that career path and Black kids, because people don't know. Right?
Yeah, people don't know.
So
I literally, there's a group of like, well, I met this woman one time, okay, because I meet a lot of people, and she was starting this like, I don't know if it was Black women in drones or like women in
Black
drones,
drone girl, something like that.
something like that.
Something.
Yeah, where it's like trying to get more people to be in drones. I mean, I think it's where we're going.
Yeah.
Future wise, like I think we're gonna need more drone pilots.
Absolutely.
So film, I mean, I could see that. Yeah. Do you consider yourself a storyteller?
Absolutely. It's all I've ever been since I was young. It's just been through different phases as I've grown up, but I always go back to it. Like writing, as far as like novelistically, that's my home base. But I've done poetry, of course, most obviously photography, filmmaking, documentary filmmaking versus narrative. So many different mediums. It's just, I guess, like I'm in my 20s, I'm trying to figure it out right now. Right. And how do I combine those to, make them sustainable, cohesive, but also multifaceted. So.
Do you have a favorite kind of story that you like to tell?
Do I? Honestly, it's definitely coming of age. I think that I have a favorite, I love the hero's journey. That's the thing in literature that I was introduced to, and I never forgot it because I connected with it as a kid. Reading my favorite sci-fi fantasy series, which is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was a huge nerd, still am. I cannot beat the allegations on that. But I'm a huge nerd, but I've always wanted to create stories like that for Black kids. Like you had this whole renaissance with Twilight and Divergent and Hunger Games and all of that, but where is ours? Like we need the book adaptation into movie franchises. We need that kind of storytelling for our kids to believe that they can cross the threshold, get a mission, accept the mission, and see themselves as heroes of their own stories, which is also why I love documentary, because the story doesn't come together until post, but in a way, everyone is the hero of their own story. They're trying to bring awareness to an issue, solve a problem in the community, and several other things. But yeah.
If this part of your life is a film, okay, what is the title of this film?
Maybe Reclaiming My Purpose.
Okay.
Because I thought of Maxine Waters' Reclaiming
My Time.
Yeah. But that's because I was at the museum earlier. But definitely Reclaiming My Purpose, because the moment I shied away from filmmaking, God, for me personally, was like, no, you're going to go here. You're going to do all the film things. You're going to go on this phase of film and learning like what it means to be on a crew, what it means to direct, what it means to write. I'm going to give you a crash course, and then you're going to apply it to your business. How I'm going to apply it, the how is something I always let God work out, because it's a very natural relationship in that way, where it's just like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And it's clear that I cannot negate either part of that. So Reclaiming My Purpose. Yeah.
Okay. I'm with it. I like it. So we are 10 years from now.
Okay.
What has Alexis accomplished by now?
By now, okay. 10 years from now, we are a B2B business. And what I envision for Butterbean Shots is that we have relationships with other businesses and perhaps clients. But what I want it to be is that we are providing equipment, we are providing teams, and we are providing services to other businesses. So we're doing corporate, we're doing tourism, we're doing documentary, we're doing travel.
And this is all media and film?
This is all media and film.
Okay.
And also we have a philanthropic branch and an educational branch. So I want to be able to, of course, give money and give grants to upcoming filmmakers and storytellers and entrepreneurs, but I also want to educate people on what's possible in the film industry. So just like people don't know that they can be a drone pilot, I want to have courses for that. I want workshops. I want to be able to impact at least, in 10 years, at least 10,000 people. Like whether it's through free headshot events or workshops or campaigns, and we have models come in. I had a campaign earlier this year, so things like that. Many, many different forms of media exposure as well as education, and then giving back into the community, sewing into the community.
Has the business, I got multiple questions. First question is, do you see the photography business evolving with the use of AI? Or do you see it affecting the photography business negatively in a sense that like now a lot of people are going on and just, I want to, give me person in white fields with whatever, and then you get this photo and it make it surreal, and you get this real life photo.
Yeah.
Do you think that we'll ever lose some of the art of photography to tech?
So that I think is a double-edged sword. Like on one hand, for example, there are photo booths that schools have been putting inside of their buildings, and students can go inside, take their headshot, and do with it what they need, like scholarship application, and anything else that they need for a headshot. On the other hand, I think that people are going to need to have an assurance that something is real and that something is artful and made with intention. So that's the other scope of it, where you come to a person that you trust, that sees you, that understands you as a photographer and an artist, and portrays you in the way you want to be. Like, I think AI can, especially where it concerns, like, is it going to be taking my job or like taking other people's jobs? It's good for a quick and fast fix, because we see that AI can only do like maybe 6 or 12 fingers and toes at a time.
Fingers be looking crazy on AI. It's like, hands be like, I don't know if this is, it's like 11, 12 fingers on.
Right. Right. So on that hand, it's like, I'm not as worried about AI, but it is something to keep in mind when I'm thinking about the clientele that I'm serving, the target market, like what are their desires when they're coming to a photographer instead of using an app or using a photo booth. So, Yeah.
Yeah. What was your degree in?
Documentary filmmaking.
Okay, so your degree is in filmmaking.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Did you want to go work for like one of the bigger studios? Did you ever think about moving to like New York or LA? Like, what?
Yeah, I came in thinking I was gonna do Marvel movies. Like
but you're in Atlanta still.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I came in, I was like, I'm gonna be working on the next Black Panthers and everything else. But at the time, Spelman only had documentary filmmaking, and I'm like the third class to go through. So it was still it was like in a guinea pig phase. And so with that, it took me a bit of time to appreciate what they were teaching me, but essentially what it was the building blocks of storytelling, because storytelling is very different from documentary and narrative. Narrative, you control everything: the lights, the talent, the camera angles, what's going to happen where, continuity, and things like that. Documentary, I won't say it's a free-for-all, but like you don't know what's going to happen on camera, and until you collect it all together and put it in the computer and like in Premiere, then you see the story that you can put together. So, yeah.
Why didn't you appreciate what they were teaching you at first? Did you think it was too slow, or you were like, this ain't got anything to do with what I need? Like, what was the qualm?
I was naive. I was like, documentary is boring, and I'm like, this is not gonna be like lights, camera, action, But it's like, but it's the same sort of way people think about film who are not in the industry or who haven't interacted with the industry. Like people think it's, oh my gosh, lights, camera, action, or like, cut there, cut here. But it is like pre-production. You got to comb through some things. You got to lock down your location. You got to scout. You got to make sure that your talent's good. Can they fly in? Are you supposed to fly in? What's the budget, etc. It's a whole bunch of moving parts that you have to figure out. And for me, during school, that really just kind of taught me the reality, like, this is what storytelling is supposed to be about. This is how we got here. These are the films that you need to watch. And these are the people that you need to know. And this is pretty much like, this is what it taught me about filmmaking. So yeah.
All right. Is your family supportive of your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. Very supportive. I am lucky to have them. Like, even before I was an entrepreneur, they were supportive of my career aspirations in the arts. Always forwarding me emails, always, letting me know events are nearby, always introducing me to people in their network that I might be interested in. So, yeah, absolutely. They're very supportive.
Okay, sounds good. Mm-hmm. Do you find, you mentioned the education side of things as well. Where do you see that part of you evolving? So there's photography, there is the filmmaking side. The filmmaking side feels like education. Yeah. Is there something else educational? Well, I mean, at least documentary style is also, I think, kin to education. Yeah. But is there some other education that you want to give to people?
Yeah, it's pretty much the how-to, like all those things I mentioned before about pre-production and how do you get to actually making a film. Because you can have an idea, but then you need to workshop it. What's your proposal? What does that look like when you're presenting it to people or when you're pitching it to people? In many ways, it's similar to entrepreneurship because you have to pitch in front of investors. Why should people invest in your film? What's the story? Why do I connect with the character? Why do I connect with this issue? And so, you can make a film on your phone, but like, is it going to resonate with people is pretty much what I'm attacking to. Also the technical aspects, because I'm a camera nerd, because I go everywhere with my camera. So what's a shutter angle? What's an ISO? What's a Canon versus a Nikon versus a Red? So all sorts of things like that.
I think photography, so what people don't necessarily know about photography, I think, this is my thought, I'm not a photographer. I took one class one time, definitely does not make me an expert. But what I learned in that one class is that it is the art of capturing the light. Yeah. That's not what I thought. That's not what I learned. That's not, I just thought, oh, you take a picture, I'm taking a picture of the thing. But the reality is the light bending around the thing that captures the thing. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how you explain. I don't know.
I mean, you're absolutely correct. Like, it's the same for any director of photography or videographer. You have to know what the light is doing in your situation, because there's no point in adding all these extra things unless you know what's happening in the environment. Like, for example, on a sunny day, you know that the light gonna hit, but you also know at 12 o'clock noon, it's gonna be really, really harsh shadows. So you're gonna need something to diffuse that or make the light softer. So you bring a diffuser. So it's just having that repertoire of knowledge in your mind. How is this going to look and how is this going to portray? And then what does this communicate to the viewer as well?
What does it communicate to the viewer is of the utmost importance to me. I could look at a shoot for somebody's product and say, the photographer's looking at the person, not the clothes,
Right.
or not the item.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's been the way that they're positioned, the way the angle looks is like, they're taking a picture of this person, not a picture of this actual item. So I love that you said that. Are you doing photography full time?
Yeah, so I'm currently freelancing between doing photography in my business and also working on independent productions. So I've been connected with some groups in Atlanta. So the first one is Tyler Perry Studios, and then second one is Reimagine ATL.
Oh yeah.
And Reimagine,
They're great.
Yeah, they're amazing. I just actually got an opportunity through them, which is really cool. So I haven't got the paperwork, so I can't say nothing. But yeah, so they're super cool. I did their summer program this year, and I've been working with some of their clients, and they've been giving me opportunities to like be a first assistant camera or a director of photography or audition for certain things. So yeah, they're a great group of people. So
Is there a role on the set that lights you up the most?
director of photography.
Director of photography?
Yeah,
Okay.
or screenwriter.
Oh, screenwriter, that's a good one. Okay, talk to me about director of photography. I feel like I get it, I've been on a lot of sets, but I don't know that people get how many people are actually on the set.
Right.
Nobody understands how many people are in the room with us right now.
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
you know, like how many people it takes to really have a great production. Like, I don't think people understand that. So, director of photography does not take photos or takes photos. Okay, does not take photos. Okay.
Yeah.
What do they do? Do they say, here's the
Right.
shot list for the photos? Do they get the photos and
Right.
review them? What do they do?
Right. So they're basically the head of the camera department. They communicate a lot between the director to understand their vision, and then they come together with the technicals. Like, here's what I'm thinking for the shot list. Here's what I'm thinking for where the lights are gonna go. And based on this information from whatever camera crew they may have, like they have their key grip and their assistant cameras and like whatever, like however big the budget is for the production. They gather all those materials, they talk back and forth with the director, and then once those decisions are made, they disseminate the information to all of the crew. So they're in charge of the picture, they're in charge of like the overall vision and getting that technicality to show on screen.
Is there a director of videography too?
On a film set?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
No.
Okay, but hear me out though.
Okay.
Don't judge me. So this is what I'm saying. So there's a director of photography, but there's no director, but it's all video.
Right. So videography, for me, in my personal opinion, right, how I categorize videography, that is something a little bit more run and gun. I mean, the responsibilities go back and forth in between the two, a director of photography and a videographer. For me, a director of photography is more like on a film set in the context of making a short film, of making a feature, of making a commercial. A videographer, that can be a one-man team. That can be a two-person team. So their responsibilities overlap, but as far as the terminology, depending on who you ask, they can flip-flop back and forth.
I feel like you just said, if somebody say videography on a film set, they don't know what they're talking about. Don't trust them. I feel like that's what
You
you're
might,
saying.
you
You're
might
like,
be
they
judged.
gotta-
You might be
that's a hood
judged.
set. That is a hood set. It is a
little-
CD movie. It is a D movie. Do not engage. It is going on Tubi. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask. But if you go on a film set, say, hey, where's the videographer?
They're gonna be looking at you like, ma'am.
Yeah,
What?
because then we're talking like we have a crew here, we have a team, and there's no one videographer. It's just, we have a director of photography who's the leader of our unit, and we have a team who supports him. So.
Okay, so now the reason why I said the videography part is because it's Sam director of photography, but it's film. So the director of photography essentially is capturing the vision, the visuals. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. Done. I'm never gonna say that. You're never gonna catch me saying that. Is there a dream partner that you want to work with, like a dream set you would want to work on, or like a dream director that
Ava
you want to
DuVernay.
work? Okay.
Ava DuVernay.
I feel like that's closer than you think.
Really? Oh my!
Yeah.
Like she's my dream because first of all, of the way that she funded her latest film, Origin.
Yeah.
Because she went to all these different philanthropists, pitched, and it's a very non-traditional way of getting your film funded, because typically you have to go to studios and through executives and things like that. But she went to people who care about what her film is about, and had meetings with them, talked with them, was like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And she ended up going to Germany, to India, all these different places to be able to make this film come true. And it was so impactful that like that's the first film that I've cried at in a very long time. I'm typically not a movie theater crier because for one, I feel like it's corny. Number two, it's just like films don't really evoke that from me because I'm more of the critiquing mindset.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, but that
I have no degree in photography or film or any of that, and I am definitely critiquing. I'm critiquing the cinematography. I'm critiquing like the storylines. I am definitely thumbs up, thumbs down, 2 snaps up. I am all of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I do not like this film because they did not take enough time to character develop.
Right. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. So you're speaking my language, like as a writer, and then someone who also conveys through a lens, like I'm very personal, especially when I'm writing. Like if I'm, say, writing a book or something, I know my characters, right? Because that's a given, I'm the author. But how do I convey that through camera? How do I convey that through color grading? How do I do that? And when I see films that feel like, at least, that are unintentional or didn't have time or kind of rush through those elements, which I feel are important, then it's just like, okay, I can't get into it, or I can't get into it further than where I am. And that brings me back to Ava DuVernay because she's so intentional about everything that she does. And it just evokes my feelings. And then her story is amazing too, because she was in her 40s and then she came into like the Hollywood spotlight. And that is just inspiration for me because like maturity is not a bad thing. I think that's the burden with my generation in particular and those that are upcoming. They see everything online and social media. And a lot of that is not the portrayal of what real life is actually like. Like I'm 23, like I'm not supposed to be a millionaire right now. Or like that's not the way that it works for most people.
Or have 15 rental properties.
Exactly. Right. Because you got them 15 rental properties.
Or you're not working hard enough.
Or
you know, like, if you do have 15 rental properties, okay. But the narrative of like, if you don't have 15 rental properties, you're not working hard enough.
Yeah.
You didn't make $1 million this morning, you suck.
Right. Like I should be making 10 G's in my sleep. You know what I mean?
Like,
so there's a lot of that going on, a lot of that talk.
Definitely.
And it's in Ava DuVernay's testament and her journey is just like her maturity and her perspective are what give her films, as well as her research, because we're not going to negate that, because her research is incredible. But just her dedication to making sure every element is what it needs to be so that it's communicated effectively, so that it's given enough thought, so that, you know, that you can comb through it, that you can feel it and absorb it, you know, and there are not a lot of films that can really do that for me and my tastes, or even the entire world, so.
Yeah, for you and your taste, you're a little bougie. You're film bougie.
I am.
But that's okay because you studied it. So you reserve the right to be film bougie. I'm with it. All right, I have a question for you. Last question.
Yes.
And this question, and you can answer however you want to answer it, personal, professional, whatever. It's just whatever comes to you when you hear the question. And the question is, where are you now?
Where am I now? I am right where I need to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where's that? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? See you trying to run game on me right quick.
Okay. Let me see. Let me try that again.
Where are you now? Where are you in life? Where are you in thought? Where are you?
I'm in my element. I am in the middle of what I prayed for. I'm in the middle of blessings, and my life feels really big. Like, not by anybody else's standards, but it just feels really big, and like that it's going to be even bigger, and that I need to be prepared to accept that. And I am ready for it. Like, I'm fully accepting of what's coming next, and even being here, like, what? You know? So it's just one of those things where it's like I'm taking it a day at a time, but and I'm grateful. Like, where I am now is very grateful to be where I am, and to witness myself going through this journey. So yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. That was a great answer. Thank you for expanding on that. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
This
you
is
for
great.
having me.
I
This is
appreciate
amazing.
it, Alexis. Good to see you.
Good to see you.